audio issue.
Everyone. It is with pleasure that I, Priyananda, welcome you all to the prestigious guest lecture series organized by Technovanza VJTI, presented by Pi and AI, co-hosted by Gaya College of Engineering and Engineering College Ajmer. VJTI was established in the year 1887 and is upholding its brilliant legacy. Taking technology to society has always been the aim of Technovanza. Over the years, we have had many pioneers like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Mr. Ratan Tata, and Mr. Garrett Brown. All of them have added great values to many young lives. I would now like you to introduce you all to a truly wonderful personality, Mr. Adam Cheyer. He is a pioneer in artificial intelligence and has spent most of his life living by what he calls verbally stated goals. That is, continuously striving to do and achieve more each year. As a child, he always wanted to become a magician, and in many ways, he accomplished it as an inventor, computer scientist, engineer, and an entrepreneur. Sir co created the world's first intelligent personal assistant, that is Apple's Siri. He was the director of engineering for the iPhone iOS team at Apple and then went on to become a founding member of Change.org, a social network for positive social change. So was the vice president of R&D at Samsung and was a co-founder and VP engineering of Viv Labs, an AI company acquired by Samsung. He also spent more than a decade as a chief architect of CALO, the US government's largest funded AI project, and has authored more than 60 publications and 38 patents. In addition to his technology work, Sir is also an award-winning magician. It was your work with open agent architectures that led directly to our concept for Siri as the virtual personal assistant. Sir, we are truly honored by your presence today. We will have a Q&A after the lecture, so please leave your questions in the live chat below. So without any further ado, let's be a part of a conversation of a shared future under the guidance of clearly the very best.
Very nice. Technology check. Can you hear me as well in this mode?
Yes, sir.
And also now, is this okay?
Yes, sir. Totally fine.
Okay, great. And we will start in a few minutes, or we start now?
You can start right away, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for that great introduction. My name is Adam Cheyer. As was said, I've helped start 4 companies. Siri, which sold to Apple and is on several billion devices. Change.org is the world's largest petition platform for good, with several hundreds of millions, 400 million members. Viv Labs, which sold to Samsung, is on hundreds of millions of devices. And also another company called Sentient, which is about machine learning. So I believe entrepreneurship is one of the most important things that young people can do. If you have the right idea at the right time, if you can assemble the right team, and if you can get investment and funding from investors, then you can be an entrepreneur. And I'm going to teach you today these lessons using stories from different companies that I've started, and also using a little bit of magic to make it more fun. So my talk today is called the magic of entrepreneurship. So let's begin. The first thing that you require is to have an idea. And when you're thinking about an idea, you should create a big idea. Don't do something small that only a few people will use. Try to choose something that's ambitious and that many people will get value from. The second thing is, once you have that idea, it's not enough just to think it. You should build a prototype, create some version that will show people the magic of your idea. And it's extremely important to say why your idea is better than the competition. You must be very clear that it's better for reason A, for reason B, for reason C. This is why we can't do this today and why we need my idea. So to talk about these things, I'm going to use Siri as an example. And with Siri, we had an idea. Wouldn't it be great if you could just talk to your phone or your device, ask it questions, and really get it going. So with this, I created a prototype of the idea, and I brought it with me today. Would you like to see the first version of Siri that we used to show investors? Here it is. I brought it with me in a little box. Now, remember, this is 2007 when we started Siri. In 2007, Google was very powerful. With Google, you could type anything into a browser, but you only got back links. I said Siri is going to be better in 3 ways than Google, than websites, than apps. Number one, with Google, you get links. With Siri, you'll be able to ask the question and answer the exact question that you asked. Second, I wanted to be able to follow up like a conversation. And third, I wanted Siri to be able to handle multiple tasks at the same time. So I need somebody to help me. Maybe perhaps Priya, you can join back or choose somebody. While we're waiting, I'm going to show you that all the cards are different and in no special order. You can see that I'm mixing the cards. All these cards are different and in no special order. Is there somebody who would like to unmute? Priya, are you there?
Yes,
Great.
I'm there.
So what I would like to do, we need a problem for Siri to solve. So I'm going to have you choose a card. Now to do that, I'll just move my finger like this anywhere over any of these cards. When you like, just tell me to say stop.
You can stop, sir.
Here.
Yeah.
I want to get, it's somewhere here. Do you want, I'll do it a little bit closer. I want to get the exact card that you want. You can choose any card in the deck.
That one.
Here? Great.
Yes.
I'm actually going to pull out 2 cards. That's fine. We can have 2 cards for now. And you should be able to see. Now, Priya, I don't know what card you chose. You don't even know what card you chose. Let's ask Siri. Here's how you do it. If you notice on the back of every card, there's a little button. All I have to do is push it and go, doo-doo. No, I'm just joking. I didn't put speech recognition into a pack of cards. This is just a paper prototype. But I can do natural language understanding. I can type questions and it will answer them. So your card could be a red card or a black card. Let's ask Siri. Siri, what color is Priya's card? Color. C-O-L-O-R, color. I just type and Siri says, you chose a black card.
Black card.
Okay, maybe. I mean, half the cards are black, half the cards are red, 50-50. Now, what would be more impressive is if I could know what number your card is. Maybe you chose a 6 or a 2 or a king. I don't know. Siri, what number did she choose? N-U-M-B-E-R, number. And Siri says, you chose a 5, a black 5. Now, if you chose a black card, it could be clubs or it could be spades. Siri, is it spades? S-P-A-D-E-S? And Siri says, oh, you chose a spades. Now, if I ask Siri, what's the match of Priya's card? The M-A-T-C-H. Every card in the deck has exactly one match. So if you chose the black 5 of spades, the match would be the other black 5. The black 5 of clubs. Which means the card that you chose out of this whole deck, shuffle deck, was the black 5 of spades. So, investors, Google cannot do this. Google, you get links. Here, Siri is answering every question exactly as I ask it. I can follow up like a conversation. Is it a black card, or is it spades or diamonds? And I also said Siri can handle multiple tasks at the same time, like dinner and a movie. Maybe you want to do both. How do you choose? Well, you chose 2 cards from the deck. I don't know this card, but watch. Siri can answer your second card at the same time. This was the color pile. Siri, what color is Priya's other card? And it says you chose a red card. Maybe. Shuffle deck. You chose any card. This was the number pile. And Siri says your second card is a king. We have a red king. And let's see, if it's a red, it could be hearts or it could be diamonds. Siri says, it's a hearts. And every card in the deck has exactly one match. So if you chose the red king of hearts, the match should be the red king of diamonds. And your second card is the red king of hearts. So this is an example of what you must do as an entrepreneur because you have an idea. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could just ask any question and it would know the answer? And it's not enough to just think the idea. You need to create a prototype to show why your idea is the best idea out there. And you need to be very clear when you think of an idea. Why is it better than the competition? Why can't Google do this? Why can't the web do this? And that's what we did with our first version of Siri. So thank you, Priya. That was great.
That was amazing, sir. That was amazing.
Thank you. So that's lesson 1, having a differentiated idea that's better than the competition. Do you use Siri at all in India? Is
Yes.
it popular a little bit? I used to run the logs at Apple. So I ran Siri at Apple. So I got to see what people said. Have you ever wondered what's the number 1 most popular question people ask Siri? Not the functional questions like what's the weather or set a timer, but kind of the funny questions. Have you ever thought about what the number 1 most popular funny question is? It's a trivia, I can tell you. Any ideas?
No.
Especially kids. So let me show. So the number 1 question, some people think it's tell me a joke. That's in the top 10. That's not the number 1. The number 1 question is, do you love me? And it's funny because it's always about relationships between people.
Yes.
Even Siri, people want to know, do you love me? And we programmed all of that into our first version of Siri. Let me show you. So I'm going to cut the deck somewhere. That's the way to start a new conversation. So the question is, do you love me? Siri, do you love me? I have to type it. L-O-V-E. And Siri says, oh, she loves me. She gives me her heart. Yes. Anyway, so that's some stories about Siri. The next thing I want to tell you about, when you start a company, it's not enough to do it by yourself. One person will not succeed. So what you need is you need to find a team. So that's going to be lesson number 2, finding the right team. So in a team, you don't need necessarily 4 people, but you need 4 founding skills. In that first team that you create, you need 4 skills. You need the visionary who has the big idea and know why are we doing this big problem and how will it change the world. You need the marketeer, which is the person who can sell the idea. Sometimes the person who has the vision is not a very good communicator. And so you need someone who can really sell that idea to customers, to investors, to potential employees, to get them excited to join the company. So you need someone who can tell a story. The third skill is the visionary often has the big picture, but you need a product person who can translate the vision into steps and say, we're going to do this first, this second, and here's why. Right? You need to really deliver a roadmap. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and eventually we'll get to the big vision. And number 4 is you need the builder who can deliver it. So with those 4 skills, you as an entrepreneur, if you want to be a young entrepreneur, think about which skills you are best at. Maybe you're great at 1, maybe you're great at 2, maybe even 3. But it's rare that one person can be world-class in all 4 skills. So to do this, the question is, well, if you can't do all of them, you need to team. You need to find people around you to join you in your project, in your company, in your idea. Being at a university is one of the best times to connect, to make that network. But how do you know if someone is really, really great at a skill that you're not very good at? So you can read their resume, you can do a lot of things, but sometimes it just takes your gut intuition. You have to feel it. So we're going to do another exercise. This exercise is going to be based on my company, Change.org. Change.org is all about people connecting and working together to do an idea. And so I'm going to need some help again. I've got yet another pack of cards. Let's see, how shall we do this? Do you want to help me again, Priya, or you can choose someone else if you don't want to do that?
I'm there, sir.
You'll help? Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. So I've raised some money from my investors, but this is all the money I have. I needed to build my team. So we need to make choices. You can think of all these cards, these different cards, as possible investors, possible candidates that we're hiring for these skills. And so I'm going to show you how it works. So the first skill is the visionary. So I'm going to try to find which candidate is the visionary. To do that, I'm going to consider a candidate and say, it doesn't feel visionary to me. No. So I interview, I meet, no. No. This is the one. When you feel you found the right candidate, you lock it in. So you put down some money and then put the rest of the cards on top. Got it? That's how it works. So now, your job, I did the first one. your job will be to find the marketeer. Now you have to use your intuition, and this is an important decision. If we hire the wrong person, the whole company will go bankrupt. So what do you think? Marketeer?
No, definitely
I'll just
not.
keep going. When you feel it, you just tell me to stop. We've got a lot of cards to consider.
No, no. Yes, this one.
Marketeer, right here. We're locking in your choice. Locked in. All right. Great. Next up, we have the product person who's going to deliver the roadmap.
Yes, this one.
Here.
Yeah, the
You're
photo.
sure?
Yes, sir.
Whew. I'm pretty nervous. This is a lot of possible choices. The last one is the builder,
The builder.
the person who can deliver it. I noticed this isn't this is $100 bill. This is the most important choice. If you don't have someone who can deliver your vision and build it, you can have all the product planning. So be very careful on this decision. This is really important. Oh, getting very nervous.
This one, I guess.
You guessed. This is an important decision for you. Here or one more? Or two more?
Three more. Three more.
Three more. One,
Yes.
two, here.
Yeah.
I hope. We're going to lock it in. Okay, we've made all of these choices for our 4 skills. We have the founder, the visionary, the marketeer, product, and builder. Let's see. Do it this way. Let's see how you did. Now, very carefully, I'm going to pull out just the ones that were chosen. You chose one here. You chose one here. You chose one here. And you chose one here. I don't know about that one. We can put all the other choices. Look at all the other choices you had. You could have chosen any of these. But you chose these 4 choices. Now the first one is the visionary. The visionary imagines what we do. We need only the best, the ace in the field. And we chose ace of diamonds. So the visionary knows how to get to the golden diamonds. He sees the long picture. This is the only candidate who could have succeeded. So amazing, but that was actually my choice. I chose the first one. Now we get into yours. The second one is the marketeer. The marketeer is the one who tells the story and makes people fall in love with the product, the idea. They're like, this is amazing. There's only one candidate out of all of these that you could have chosen to make people fall in love with the story. The ace of hearts. Priya, you did it. We're amazing. We've got the start of a great team. But then we were going, there was, I don't know about the next one. Next one is the product person. The product person says we're doing step 1, step 2, step 3. Translating the big idea that people love into a real roadmap. There's only one candidate who would succeed. The clubs, who does the 1, the 2, and the 3 steps for each piece. And Priya, this is the one with $100 under it, not $20. This is the big one. And I said, stop. You said stop. And then you said, no, go forward, not 1, not 2, 3 more steps in the middle of this deck. You could have chosen anything. Well, there's only one candidate who would be perfect for this role. The best ace the ace of spades, the one who takes the shovel and can build what we need to make. So Priya, you chose the perfect team, and that is the second step of doing an amazing job as an entrepreneur. First, you have the right idea, and that you show that it's different from the competition and better than the competition. Then you find people around you with the right skills to make this. And now that we have that, and we have the money from our investors, step 3 for building a great company. Let me tell you about that. So step 3 is, now you have a team, now you have an idea, now you have money from your investors, and it's all about being efficient with that money. It's about understanding how to make the right decisions. So it's all about efficient decisions. And people say, they often talk about innovation and decision-making by saying yes to the thing that you have to focus on. But as Steve Jobs says, that's not what it means at all. Innovation and efficient decision-making is saying no to the 1,000 possible other ideas you could do. It's so easy to get distracted. And so, Priya, one more time, I'm going to need your help. I've designed an exercise for you that's going to teach or help you practice efficient decision-making. And what it means to say, when you say yes to something, you're actually saying no to 1,000 other possible options. Let's see, let me try to move this up.
So would it be okay if my colleague Gargi volunteers this time?
Yes, yes, you've done a wonderful job so far. I'd be happy to please just unmute him. Let me see if I
Thank
can.
you, sir.
Thank you for your help here. So before we begin this exercise, I just wanted to emphasize I'm going to use Viv Labs, my company Viv Labs. Viv Labs sold to Samsung. It's this new technology that Samsung is using for their Siri-like assistant. And it's about having an open ecosystem accessible to all. So let's see. So do we have someone who's joining me? Sorry, what's your name?
Gargi.
Gargi. Nice to
Yes.
meet you, Gargi. Thank you so much for helping me. So here's how this game works. Steve Jobs said that when you are making decisions, every time you say yes to something, it's saying no to 1,000 other things you could be working on. So we're going to do an exercise where we practice that. Here we have 25 options, and I have some coins. And Gargi, what I'd like you to do is you're going to choose any option you like of these 25. But every time we choose an option, say you chose 7, we chose 9, whatever it is, if you chose one, we're going to keep that one, but we're going to remove all of the other options you could have chosen in that row or that column, right? If you hire a candidate or if you prioritize a feature, that means you're not hiring this other candidate you could have chosen, or you're not choosing this other feature you could have done. So that's how we're going to play this game. Are you ready, Gargi?
Yes.
Thank you. So first of all, what is your first option that you choose? Be very careful. There's only one possible set of options to help us win this game and succeed in our startup. Because if we make the wrong decisions, we go down the wrong path, we'll run out of time, we run out of money. It's a very bad situation. So be very thoughtful about your choice. Which do you choose?
Yes, I choose 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay. You keep 7. Now let's watch me. That means you did not choose any of these options in the row, and you did not choose any of these, or in the column, any of these options in
Yeah.
the row. All right, 7.
Yes.
All right, I hope that's the right choice. Now we have 4 more coins.
Yes.
Which do you choose?
19.
19. I like that you're thinking about it. Okay, 19. I see a little diagonal idea forming. Maybe that's the right answer, maybe not. 19, which means you did not choose 18 or 16 or 20. You did not choose 24. Okay.
Yes.
All right. You have 3 more choices. We must get this exactly correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, I choose 3.
3. Ooh.
Yes.
3, which means we eliminate these options.
Yeah.
And we eliminate these options. We are down to just 2 more choices.
Yes. So the last one will be 11.
11, which eliminates these 2. And that means there's only one last choice to choose
25.
here.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. So we have 3, we have 7, we have 11, 19, and 25. Well, Gargi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to tell you, out of all the combinations that you could have chosen,
Yeah.
you chose the exact right combination. It's the only one that would have worked. Now, you're probably saying, okay, I don't believe him. Well, I'm going to prove to you this is the only option that you could have chosen. So, are you good at math, Gargi? Help me with this. Let's add up these numbers that you chose. So these 2, this is 10.
Yes.
This is
30. Yes.
And this is 25. So 30 plus 25 is 55. And plus 10 is 65.
Yes.
The numbers you chose are 65. Well, look at these coins. In America, this is a 25-cent piece.
Okay.
And this one is also 25 cents, so that's 50.
Yeah.
But these smaller ones are 5-cent pieces.
Okay.
So 50 plus 15 is 65. The numbers you chose, 65, it was the only one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
But that's not it, because I told you this company, this story about decisions was based on my company, Viv Labs. And right here on the sign, this was a sign we used to have in our office, no limit, 65 labs. 65, that is exactly the picture that the numbers you chose. But also, if you know about Roman numerals, the name of my company was Viv Labs. And Viv, in Roman numerals, a V is a 5, and 1 is a... And another V here is 5, 65. It is, again, exactly the numbers you chose. But finally, I know you're saying, well, maybe there are other combinations that could have added up to 65, like if I had chosen a 4 and a 6 or something like that. But actually, Gargi, what I didn't tell you is that on the back of all of those pieces were different messages. So we had company names like Facebook or Nuance or SoundHound. We have things like Suze or Sells To. We have Amazon, Microsoft. We have so many different possible actions or companies. Let's see the message that you chose us. Each of these are different. You chose this one, 65 Labs. That was the name of our company when we started. We started as 65 Labs, and then we changed it to Viv Labs.
Okay.
Number 7, rebrands as. So we did, 65 Labs changed our name. And we didn't call ourselves Alexa. or EV, we called ourselves Viv Labs.
Viv Labs.
65 Labs rebrands as Viv Labs. Amazing. And then, number 19, we were acquired. We didn't sue anyone. We didn't raise money and keep going. We were acquired by, and who were we acquired by? Not Apple, not Facebook, not Microsoft, not Amazon, but Samsung. Amazing, Garden. You showed the exact correct path that we took on our company, and somehow you were able to make the right decisions because you thought about, if I choose this one, that means I can't choose the other. You have to be always thoughtful that each decision, when you say yes, you're actually saying no to all of those other options that you could have chosen. So wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Priya will continue now. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So that brings us to the end of my lessons. So these lessons are 3 lessons for entrepreneurs. The lessons are, let me do it from overhead view perhaps. The lessons are, 1, to be an entrepreneur, to be innovative, to change the world. Number 1, you should have a differentiated idea. What does that mean? It should be a desirable, something people will want, many people, a big market, and you need to say, why is this better than the competition? Otherwise, if it's not, big companies have more resources. Don't do a startup to do something that exists. Imagine a magical future, figure out why it's better, and be very clear, how is this better than the competition? Just like Siri was, we said you're going to answer the question conversationally, and you can really handle multiple tasks at the same time. Once you have your idea, you need to find the core team of people to help you. And there are 4 skills. You have the visionary who knows the big solution. You have the marketeer who can sell that idea to customers and investors and potential employees. You have the product person who can translate the vision into 1, step 2, step 3. And finally, you have the builder who can deliver the roadmap, deliver the product on time and on budget. And finally, with those first 2, you can raise money from an investor if you have the right idea and the right team. But then it's a game about making the right decisions, because the money you have translates into the number of days until your company dies, right? You have limited time to produce value. And so to do that, you have to make efficient decisions. And to make decisions, you have to always be cognizant. Well, if I do this, I'm saying no to all these other options, and be very thoughtful in your process. So that for me is my best 3 lessons about entrepreneurship, how to take an idea out into the world. You guys are young, you're talented, you have networks of different types of people. You have everything you need to be successful and really change the world, just like Siri has, like Change.org has, like Viv Labs has, etc. So there you go. Those are my best lessons for the magic of entrepreneurship. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Firstly, sir, that was amazing. That was mind-blowing. I'm sure everybody's learned a lot. And I think they really enjoyed the way you presented it. So I think now we can move on to the questions that the audience have. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So our audience would love to know what really got you into programming, like, the beginning of your college days or the school days, how you really got into programming.
Yes, thank you. So I started programming in high school. This was a long time ago, before any of you were born. And our computers had just arrived to our school for the first time. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know how they worked. But they were these fascinating machines. At the time, this was a long time ago, there was something called Rubik's Cube. It was a toy. And I loved Rubik's Cube. So I was a Rubik's Cube champion, and I could solve it very fast. Not fast by today's standards, but back when the Rubik's Cube first came out, 26 seconds was fast back then. Now it's like people solve it in 5 seconds. But so the first computer program I ever wrote was programmed to solve the Rubik's Cube. I learned just enough programming. If then, so if this, then that, print statement, which would put something on the screen, input statement, which would ask the user for something. And with just those commands, if then, print, input, I wrote this huge program that you would type in your Rubik's Cube position and it would tell you what moves to solve. So it was a very simple programming idea. If then, print, input, that's it. But with that, you can do anything. You can imagine something that's so exciting to you personally. For me, it was Rubik's Cube when I started. Now it's artificial intelligence and other things. But if you can dream it using a computer, you can build it. And that for me was just such a wonderful, it's such a wonderful tool. It was so exciting. I could build anything I dreamed of. And it's been like that my whole life. I still love to program, I love to dream, love to build things.
So now, like, we have a lot of platforms available to learn computer science and different programming. How was it in the early 1980s when you were studying? How was it different from today, studying computer science back then?
You shouldn't have said 1980s. Now everyone knows how old I am.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. It's not very different. It really is not very different. So from a programming perspective, I started with BASIC programming language and Pascal. Today we have JavaScript or Python or different languages. They're about the same. They are literally, the syntax is a little different. With Pascal, you would put a semicolon at the end of the line, and Python, you tab instead of having semicolons, but in JavaScript, you do have semicolons sometimes, so the basic ideas, there's if-then in every of these languages. There's print, there's input, there's goto, there's procedures. It's about the same. So what's different? Back then, you just had your computer. It was kind of empty. There wasn't a lot of data. There wasn't anything. It was just like an empty page. And you had to create everything that was in that page. Today, we have the web and the internet. We have data source. So you can go out and Google or search on a search engine and find someone else has written a library, or someone else has written some code, or they can answer questions to you, or you can download a data source. That never existed before. So the programming languages have not changed much. I mean, they have a little bit, but it's the same logic, They're all exactly the same. But what has changed is the internet. You can now take classes online for free from literally some of the best professors in the world. They put up free lectures, or, places like Coursera. Anyone can go get an education. They can learn. They can find people to ask questions of. They can download data. They can download programs. They can study those programs. So it's like the library of the world is at your fingertips, and it's filled with data and programs and knowledge and people. That didn't exist. Back then, you just had your blank sheet of paper that you had to do everything by yourself.
That's great. So now, I would like to know what exactly led you to the idea of Siri, and how did you come to develop Siri?
So my first version, you had mentioned a little bit in the intro, I created something called Open Agent Architecture, which was my first attempt to do Siri. And it was in 1993, before I ever saw a web browser. So my first web browser was 1994. It was called Mosaic. It's probably just coming out then. And I believed that, I said to myself, someday, in 1993, someday there will be computers around the world with content and services that we want to access, all that data and programs and people. And I said, we need a way to discover that content and services, and we need a way to interact with it. And I never thought about using documents with hyperlinks as the way to do that. I thought everyone would have an assistant, and you could say, I want to know this, or I want to do that. And when you made your request, it would break it down into subtasks, route it to the right machines, each subtask to the right machine around the world to answer that part of the question, aggregate results, present them to the user, learn from the interactions, and help the user get their task done. Very much like we did with the Siri cards. Ask a question, it should answer it from wherever the right answer is. And so that, for me, Siri, or OAA as I called it, was the internet. And that's still what I'm trying to do today. Today, we have assistants like Siri and Alexa and Google Assistant, and they're okay, but they're not as important as the internet. They're not important as mobile phones because they're built by just big companies. And what we need to do is open it up like the internet was so that any developer can teach the assistant the knowledge they need about this domain or this problem. And the assistant's job is to route it to all the different, the right pieces, the right places, the right companies, the right brands. And it's really the facilitator. It's the person who helps you get it done using all this knowledge. So it's still, I think, a very compelling vision today. We're not there yet. I've been trying for almost 30 years. I get closer and closer and closer, but the assistant is not as important as the internet yet, and I think it can be.
So throughout the process of development of Siri, you must have, faced some problems. What were the hurdles that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
There are technical problems, and then there are business problems. So the technical problems, I've usually found a way to overcome them. If you put your mind to something, or you hire a great team, and you know what you want to do, you can usually find a way. Now, it wasn't always easy. So with Siri, natural language, understanding natural language is one of the core pieces. It's a difficult problem, and I didn't even realize how difficult when I started the company. We had our prototype, not cards, but software, and it worked pretty well. But then we loaded in 30 million business names, and I realized that every word in the English language is a business name. So if you have a simple phrase like, book a 4-star restaurant in Boston. It sounds so easy. You know what I mean instantly. Book a 4-star restaurant in Boston. But a machine, it'll look at the word book and say, well, book can mean reserve, make a reservation, but it also means a book. Which meaning is it? And Book is a city in the United States. There's a city named Book. And Star is a city in the United States. And Boston is a city in the United States. In fact, there are 13 different Bostons in the United States. So if I've got Book, Star, and Boston, which city am I talking about? How do I know it's Boston, Massachusetts, right? There's ambiguities. And Star Restaurant is the name of a restaurant in the United States, Star Restaurant. But I'm not talking about Star Restaurant. I'm talking about 4-star restaurants. And so the ambiguities was a big technical challenge, but we worked at it. We developed an architecture and an approach that could reason about structure, and we solved that problem. On the business side, I've often decided to try to sell my technology to a big company like an Apple or a Samsung. And the reason is they have hundreds of millions of devices out in the world. And then with one button, they can just push my technology to all of them. It's a great way to get it out, and they have marketing, and they can talk about it. So to do that as a startup, it's very hard to get hundreds of millions of people to care. If I sell to Apple, now everyone cares. But when you sell your technology or your product to a company, you no longer own that. So you don't control where it's going to go. So then starts the business problems. And you say, no, we have to do this. This is why. And they say, no, we want to do that. And so there's this dialogue and discussion. And it kind of goes like this. Some of I used to argue with Steve Jobs and say, I think it needs to be this way. And he'd go, Adam, I've heard you, but we're going to do it this way instead. And I go, all right, he's the boss. I'm not. And there are times when I think he was right. Like I wanted to do something and I look back and I go, he was right. But there are other times I look back and I go, you know what? I still think I was right. We should have done it this way. So it's a challenge, and I have not, I've partially succeeded. It's about dialoguing and debating and convincing. It never ended up where I wanted. When I sold Siri to Apple, after 2.5 years, they wanted to go this way. I knew we needed to go that way. And so we couldn't agree. So I left the company. I started a new company, Viv Labs, to pursue my vision. I built it up, sold it to Samsung to get another chance. And then again, off you go into these discussions. And I'm very proud both of Siri and of what we did with Viv Labs. But I have not been yet successful to get to the vision that I care so much about, the one I defined in 1993, which is how to make the assistant as important as the web and mobile. It's not today. And so for that, I guess you could say I've failed. However, I never say I failed. I never admit failure. I just say, I have not succeeded yet. And I learned from it. Now, why didn't this try succeed? Didn't fail. I learned and I got it. It was partially successful. Much good came out of Siri. Much good came out of Viv Labs. But I didn't get all the way. Now, why is that? So I didn't fail, but I didn't succeed. And so I didn't succeed yet. And so that's my perspective.
Those are some great words. I think everybody's gonna live by those words now. We will succeed, obviously, will not fail. But I'm sure your technology has reached millions through, via Apple and Samsung. So how does it make you feel that, even though it is not at that point where you were expecting, but still millions are actually using it on a daily basis and have fallen into the habit of using Siri every day. So how does it make you feel?
Yes, it's, as an entrepreneur, I'm optimistic about life. I'm so grateful for every minute we have on this planet, right? You have to learn how to appreciate. And one thing I'm grateful for and appreciative of in my life is that, yes, I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to create something that people like and people use. And there's Siri. I'm more proud of change.org in many ways than Siri, because change.org is being used every day to solve problems people care about, that they say, I've identified a problem and a solution. And they write a petition, people click on it. If they agree, they don't agree, they start a different petition to do something else. And everyday victories happen that save lives, that improve lives on some of the biggest and smallest problems in the world. Everything from, working on climate change and political issues and human rights and animal rights and poverty and hunger. All of that can be done, and it is being done on change.org. Like, it's really important things. By contrast, Siri's nice. I can say, do you love me? And it'll answer, or let's set a timer. But, so I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed that people like some of the things that I've created, that people use some of the things that I created, and that there's some value. I mean, there are people who write to me about Siri. Some people just like it. For some people, if you're blind, or if you're paralyzed, Siri can be transformative. So many people have written to me saying, you know, dear sir, I am paralyzed. There's a famous football player in America who won the Heisman Trophy. He had an accident and is paralyzed from neck down. He says, using Siri, I can now interact. I can send and read text messages and emails. I can interact with, you know, Facebook. There are blind people, there are autistic people. For these people, Siri has much more meaning than, like, value than a common person. But hopefully it's valuable to everyone. So I'm grateful, I'm appreciative, but I'm also an entrepreneur, which means I'm never satisfied. So I did not achieve what I was going for. I'm so frustrated that it got so close. Yes, there was good, but it didn't get there. I need to try again. I need to try more. I'm not there yet. And so I think an entrepreneur should take the time to appreciate, and everyone should take the time to appreciate all the good that's in their life, all the blessings they have, all of the things they've done. But don't be satisfied with where you are. Be a little grouchy, a little frustrated, because then you want to go and fix that new problem or get closer to your goal. And yeah, I think it's a nice way to live.
That was a great story. I think everybody, you've added so much value to, you've helped a lot, be it through change.org or Siri. So I think it's really great to know. So what would be your final message to, our viewers who are still in the university or still building their careers? What would be your message to them?
Yeah, I have two messages. So I've lived a wonderful life so far. I hope to do much more. And I wouldn't change anything that I've done except for maybe one thing. So I was in my mid-40s before I ever got the idea to start a company. And, you know, I learned a lot before that helped me. But I sometimes say, I wish I had started with entrepreneurship earlier, younger. Because boy, I've done all of these things just in, 12 years. What if I had been doing this for 30 years? I would have had so much more impact in the world. So that's kind of a lesson number one, which is maybe I wish I had started a little bit earlier. And when I started, I had the ignorance of not knowing what I was doing, but also not knowing I couldn't do it. I thought, and I love young people who just believe in something and don't know they can't do it, because they're the ones who are going to do it. But I remember when I started, I used to say, well, I'm just one person. What can I do? I can't change anything. I'm just one person. I can't do anything. But now I'm like, of course I can impact 1 billion lives. Of course I can. And if I'm not trying to, what am I even doing taking that time? So what's different? I'm not as good a programmer now as I was 12 years ago. When I was younger, I could code faster and had more energy and more things. But now I have the confidence that I know I can change 1 billion lives. And it's just in your mind. It's literally in your mind. I'm not any smarter or better, but now I have that confidence. So I would say, if you think entrepreneurship is for you, try it. Follow the lessons I gave you, and get an idea, get a right team, raise money, and then make good decisions and execute. And try it, and think big. Try to change lives for 1 billion people, because there's no reason that you can't do it. I think you're
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That was very impactful and a very thought-provoking session. I am sure everybody enjoyed it and learned a lot from you. We hope everybody has enjoyed this amazing session filled with knowledge and wisdom. And
yeah, well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you all. And thank you for your help with the magic tricks.
that was amazing, sir. So
And
glad
thank
to
you,
be a part
Garvey,
of
also.
that.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much.